to start. I apologize for being over festive today. I have way too much green on.
No such thing.
All right, just a reminder for the members to speak into their microphone when they vote, and so we can get everything on the record. This will call the 16th meeting of the Senate State and Local Committee to order. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Alvarado.
Here.
Senator Harper Angel. Senator McDaniel.
Here.
Senator McGarvey. Senator Schroeder. Here. Senator Southworth. Senator Storm. Senator Thayer.
Here.
Senator Wheeler. Here. Senator Nemes.
Present.
Senator Mills.
I'm here, and we have a quorum, and we're duly constituted to do business. We have 5 items on the agenda, and we're going to bounce around a little bit. The first item on the agenda is going to be House Bill 43, which is Representative Shane Baker, if you want to come forward and bring any of your guests that you have with you. And if y'all can state your name for the record, and the floor will be yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Shane Baker, State Representative for the 85th District, representing Pulaski and Laurel counties.
Thank you, Chairman Mills and Committee David Walls with the Family Foundation.
And gentlemen, if you can be succinct with your testimony here, we've all read the bill, and we may have a few questions, but if you can be considerate of others behind you. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir. I'll be very brief and give you a brief overview. This obviously is in response to the government shutdowns of churches and other religious organizations that took place in 2020. The bill does a couple simple things. Number one, it says that churches and religious organizations should be treated in the same manner as other essential organizations during times of emergency. It ensures that the state will not take adverse action against a religious organization simply for being religious. And it codifies the recent Supreme Court decisions that make clear that free exercise rights are fundamental, and governments cannot treat religious organizations worse than other groups just because they're religious, and provides a cause of action for religious organizations that have been discriminated against.
Anything to add?
I'll just quickly add that the Family Foundation strongly supports the Church's Essential Act. Appreciate Representative Baker's leadership on this timely common sense measure. And as Representative Baker said, it's vitally important that we ensure that churches and other religious organizations receive at least equal treatment during an emergency, and that they are that the state is not allowed to discriminate against them on the basis of them being a religious organization. And appreciate the opportunity to be here. And the consideration of this important bill.
Very welcome. Any questions from the members this morning? If not, a motion will be in order.
Motion on the bill.
We have a motion from Senator Alvarado, a second from Senator Wheeler. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Alvarado.
Aye.
Senator Harper Angel. Senator McDaniel.
Cast my vote and explain.
You may.
I'm going to cast an aye vote, but guys, I think we're headed down a dangerous road in response to a dangerous action. You're opening up for interpretation with this, what is actually constituted as religious expression and a right of action against the state that currently exists. And I think that we may be opening ourselves up to some unintended consequences that have not been thought through very well with this. So I'm going to vote aye because I'm with you on the issue, but I think we have the potential to be headed into some dangerous territory here.
Senator McGarvey. Senator Nemes.
Aye.
Senator Schroeder. Was that an aye? Senator Southworth. Senator Storm. Senator Thayer.
Explain my vote.
Yes, you may.
I vote yes. I'm kind of where Senator McDaniel is. You know, we don't like big government until we do. I vote aye.
Senator Wheeler. Aye. Senator Mills.
I vote aye. House Bill 43 passes 7-0 and with favorable expression. We have a motion from Senator Alvarado for consent. Senator McDaniel opposes the consent call. So that will be placed and go straight to the Senate where it had to be presented on the floor. So it does pass with favorable expression 7-0. So thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is House Bill 564. That 564. There's two right next to you. Sorry, we had three people getting that all at once. So.
Mr. Chairman, can I register an aye vote on
You
House
may.
Bill 43? Thank you.
You may. Thank you. I didn't see you come in. Aye. Yes. Thank you. Okay. House Bill 564 is Representative Josh Branscom's bill related to elections. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to introduce yourselves for the record, and you can proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Josh Branscombe, State Representative, 83rd District.
Jennifer Henson Decker, State Representative, District 58.
James Tipton, State Representative, House District 53.
Jason Denny, Anderson County Clerk and President of the Kentucky County Clerks Association.
Very good. Before we start, we have a small committee sub, and this committee sub was placed in that will add some language related to the pilot risk limiting audits that are coming up this year and also moving forward. So we added some language in there to guarantee that the Board of Elections would be moving forward with those and kind of codifying that. So if we could have a motion on the committee sub. Okay, we have a motion from Senator Thayer, second from Senator Alvarado to get the committee sub before us. Representative Branscombe.
All right. Appreciate it, Mr. Chairman. Last session, this.
I'm sorry, we need a voice vote. So all in favor of adopting the committee sub, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. Representative Branscombe.
All right. Thank you, sir. Last session, this General Assembly passed one of the largest election reform bills in nearly 100 years with House Bill 574. It was a bipartisan bill, made it easier to vote while adding increased security measures to our elections. And like many bills, we often find that we have to come back and do a little bit of housekeeping, and I appreciate the opportunity to work with Representative Decker and Tipton, again this year, as well as Representative Tate and Representative Roberts. And we, like last year, had input from our county clerks, State Board of Elections, and Secretary of State's office on this bill. House Bill 564 is not an election reform bill like what we've seen last year. As mentioned, this is primarily just some cleanup. However, there are some areas in which we've included technical changes to help increase the efficiency and the security of our elections. So a brief overview of the bill. We've created a new section of KRS 117 that separates in-person absentee voting from mail-in absentee voting. This will provide some clarity with those two things in separating those. We've established the time for in-person absentee voting, so the early voting on the Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. There was no time established. The clerks asked that we set a time on those, and we have done that in this bill. Probably one of the most important things is that we fixed the gap period for allowing absentee voting. Like I said, this is probably one of the major cleanups of the bill. So the last day to request an absentee ballot from the portal is 14 days out from Election Day. And after that, currently there's no mechanism in place to vote excused absentee. So on day 13, you find out that you will not be there to vote. On the Thursday, Friday, Saturday of early voting, or on Election Day, you wouldn't be able to vote. We've taken previous statute of when you used to be able to vote absentee prior to COVID and apply that to this period between 13 days out from election until the Thursday of in-person voting. This could be someone who gets called out of town for work. We have to make sure that we aren't punishing them for that, and some of the other criteria laid out that one must meet. The bill prohibits the transmittal of absentee ballots until 6 o'clock prevailing time on Election Day. We've set up security protocol to where 2 election officials must check, record, and sign off on the numbers on the public counter of each voting machine at the end of each night of voting and the following morning to ensure that those numbers match. Additionally, the tamper-resistant seals are checked at the end of each day and the following morning to ensure that voting equipment has not been tampered with. The bill prohibits voting equipment that tabulates or aggregates votes used in election results from connecting to any network, internet, or any device external to the voting system. Any attempt to do so is a Class D felony. Last couple points here. The bill requires that the county clerks provide precinct-level data for voting and will include Election Day and in-person absentee voting. We're requiring a secure online connection for the transmittal of unofficial election results. And finally, the bill addresses unexpired terms of partisan races. So if a political party candidates are able to file certificates of nomination and not be limited to being a write-in candidate. Mr. Chairman, those are the highlights of the bill. I have with me Jason Denny with the Clerks Association, who, with your permission, would like to speak on the bill.
Mr. Denny, really quick.
On the security issues, we come up and helped with the viewpoint that each night the machines need to be checked, the seals need to be verified, and the same way the next morning, which shows the votes, the machines could not be tampered with. Any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
Senator Thayer has a question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to make sure that nowhere in this bill do we expand early voting beyond the current 3 days allowed by Representative Decker's bill last year.
Senator, we have the excused absentee votes between days 13 and the Thursday of in-person voting. That's the gap period now where someone is not able to currently vote that we needed to fix. So as far as an expansion of voting, I don't know if you'd really call that an expansion.
No, I just mean right now we allow Friday, Saturday, and Monday.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
That has not changed.
I just want to make sure we don't expand early voting beyond that.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Please don't ever try that. Thank you very much.
Any other questions? Senator Southworth has a question.
Mr. Chairman, I have two questions.
Okay.
My first question is relating to the internal networking around voting systems. And are you intending to have this language here allow internal networks that create just as many points for hackers as external networks?
Mr. Chairman, we have Tom Watson with the State Board of Elections, who I believe is online. And Senator, he would probably be able to answer that question for you.
Yes, if he wants to chime in on virtual, that'd be fine.
Okay, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
If I understand the question correctly, what that is referring to is the necessary communications within the election system itself. Any system has to have communication between its various components, and that's what that's referring to. So it's not the internet, it's the internal workings of the system.
Senator Southworth, do you have another question?
Yes, my other question is relating to the risk limiting audit. So I see on page 43 of the sub that there's been a 0.0001% effort to copy my efforts to actually get this risk limiting audit into place. But is there anywhere in here that actually requires us to do the risk limiting audit, or is this just a protocol that we have on hand, but it's not required to be done every last election?
That the risk limiting auditing was, the pilot program was established in House Bill 574 last year. I could see that being after we get and I believe the sub asked that the state board come back in the interim and report to the committees on what the results were. I could see that being something that maybe next year we look at increasing that depending on what the results are, maybe expanding that possibly.
Yeah. And I can add on to that. I added that language in after visiting with the state board a couple of times and found out that they do have a pilot project that is moving forward, and they've enlisted what would be considered national experts on risk limiting audits, and that they will be doing a pilot project after the primary and then also moving into the general elections. So I wanted to put something in the bill that required them to continue to move forward on that, because we did have some discussion about what was risk limiting on it and what was going on. And I think it's important to kind of hold their feet to the fire and require them by statute to continue on what was in the bill last year. So that's why I went in and put that in. And Mr. Denny might have something to add.
And Senator Southworth, Anderson County has volunteered to be in that pilot program. So we will be one of the first counties to work with that.
Of course,
And
that's
come
because
with
you're
it.
the best county in the state. We need everybody on board, though.
Thank you.
Senator
Roll call.
Senator McDaniel has the question.
Guys, forgive me if you addressed this already, but is the declaration of emergency because we've got to get this in place before the primaries?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
All righty. We've answered our questions. Any other questions? If not, the motion would be in order. We have a motion from Senator McDaniel, a second from Senator Alvarado. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Senator Alvarado.
Aye.
Senator Harper Angel. Senator McDaniel. Senator McGarvey. Senator Nemes.
Aye.
Senator Schroeder.
That was an aye.
Senator Southworth.
Spend my no vote, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, you may.
It comes as no surprise. There's 3 sections of this bill. They're still here that have wide open gaping holes for hacking of all sorts. Internal networks, we can't get rid of them as long as we have these internet cable machines. So I've always been against that. I'm still against that. I'm not going to quit being against it. The other thing is this risk limiting audit situation. Obviously, there is language out there that I've already filed in various ways, and we need to get this actually going. What I see right here is pretty much more of the same, what I call sleight of hand, bait and switch, whatever you want to call it. We're going to do something. We say we're going to do something. We're going to write it in a way that we don't have to make it happen. We write things like the word audit gets everybody excited, and then we turn around and say, well, we think we should do something like Colorado, where we announce 30 days ahead of time what we're checking and what we're not, and we get to decide internally what we're going to check and what we're going to not. And the people who have access to these systems are able to decide what we're checking, and then the things that aren't checked are the things that are magnets for fraud. And when that's announced ahead of time, it's a terrible idea. If this isn't in statute to make sure that doesn't happen, I'm really concerned that we're going to be right down the same path as other states. Thank you.
What's that vote?
No. No vote. No vote. Yeah.
Senator Storm. Senator Thayer.
Explain my vote.
Yes, you may.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to vote aye. I think this is a good bill. I appreciate the group of members in the House working on election law. For a long time up here, I was about the only person working on it. So I appreciate you guys doing that. As long as you don't expand early voting beyond the 3 days we currently have, just want to make myself clear. I'm always going to support your good work. Keep it up.
Senator Wheeler.
Aye.
Senator Mills.
I vote aye. House Bill 564 passes with favorable expression 8-1, and we'll move on in the process. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming here today.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Committee.
The next item is House Bill 565. Representative Mosier's bill, and I believe she has some guests with her from.
Mr. Chair, if I may, I'll make a motion on the sub.
Thank you so much. We have a sub before us. Senator McDaniel has made a motion to bring that before us. We have a second from Senator Thayer. So before us is House Bill 565 with the committee sub. If y'all could quickly introduce yourselves.
Absolutely.
We need a voice vote on our sub. All in favor of adopting the sub, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All righty. Subs before us. Representative Mosier.
All right, good morning.
Good morning.
I am Representative Kim Mosier from the 64th District, and I will allow my guests to introduce themselves.
Colonel Pat Morgan, Kenton County Sheriff's Office, Kentucky Sheriff's Association.
Mayor Chris Reinersman, City of Independence.
William Hunt, Chief of Police of Somerset.
Brianna Carroll, Kentucky League of Cities.
Gentlemen, if you speak, please speak into the microphone. So, and I had mine off just right then, so we can have that recorded. Representative Mosier.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Chairman Mills, and thank you to the committee for giving us a few minutes to discuss this bill. What House Bill 565 does is simply eases the training backlogs that we're seeing in the criminal justice system. DOCJT would, in this bill, allow some online courses. This bill is a result of 2 years of conversation with DOCJT. It requires the department to create administrative regs that offer a minimum amount of online instruction. This change is vitally important, as you'll hear from some of our mayors and others. As law enforcement agencies struggle with wait times of getting their officers out on the street, and also with the cost incurred to our cities in sending officers away to do all of their training at the academy. This would
Motion on the
simply.
bill.
We have a motion from Senator McDaniel, second from Senator Wheeler. Any other comments from the panel?
Not unless there are questions.
Very good. Thank you so much. If there are not any other comments on House Bill 565, Madam Senator Wheeler.
My understanding, Representative Craig-Baron, this is only for 10% of the classes are going to be online. Most of it is still going to take place at the academy, including all practical training, correct?
That is correct. That's for basic training, and then up to 30% for annual in-service, which is problematic to send folks away.
Yeah, I just wanted to make that point. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Good. Very good. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Alvarado,
Explain my vote, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, you may.
I cast a no vote on this bill. I'm not accustomed to voting no on measures that are sponsored by the chairwoman. We're always in agreement almost on everything I think that we put forth together, and I'm not used to casting no votes with KLC and with law enforcement. But when it comes to matters of training for law enforcement, I'm not an expert. I rely on my local officials, and I've contacted my local officials about this. Their feeling is that basic training for new recruits needs to be in person, is their opinion. And so because of that, I'm casting a no vote. Thank you.
No.
Senator Harper Angel,
Explain my aye vote, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, you may.
Representative Mosier, I thank you for bringing this measure. I know when I passed the sexual assault training a few years back, DOCJT was having difficulty filling the classes. So this would be an excellent way to train all of our folks. Thank you for bringing it.
Thank you.
I vote aye.
Senator McDaniel,
Cast my vote and explain.
Yes, you may.
Well, like Dr. Alvarado, I'm not opposed to going against doctors' advice, but I can tell you in the last decade, I've gotten certified on OSHA 10, on CPR, and on scuba diving on this thing. And then there's a hands-on after the academic portion is handled. It's just the way that the world has shifted. The initial models were exceptionally clumsy and on and on. The level of engagement, the level of ability to supervise has changed dramatically. I think this is a good shift, and I would encourage, especially a lot of our boards and commissions and stuff, to continue to move to some degree of this model. There will always be a need for in-person, and in this case, the vast majority needs to be in-person. But there's a space for this, and I'm glad to see we're using it. Aye.
Yes.
Senator McGarvey, Senator Nemes,
Aye.
Senator Schroeder,
Aye.
Senator Southworth,
Spend my aye vote, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, you may.
I think this is a great thing because when I was at DOCJT discussing the issues with the training the last time, my big thing is our law enforcement does not have nearly enough training, and yet there's never enough time to get more. And part of the training that I was discussing with them was the legal update. We pass all these laws every year, and constituents sure don't know what they are. Law enforcement can't keep up. And what I'm told, at least at that time, was that the legal update section of the in-service was the #1 rated training from law enforcement that was receiving it. But I can imagine it's like a 1 or 2 hour deal. And they've got all these hours to do all this stuff. They're not getting nearly enough time on that. So I feel like this kind of thing is a type of thing where we could actually even increase the amount of material we can get out there if it's available online, that people that need more information about all of these things could learn it better. I think it's a great move to be able to add that type of training that easily can be done on Zoom type platforms. Thank you.
It was an aye. Yes.
Thank you.
Senator Storm,
Cast my vote and explain.
Yes, you may.
I vote aye. I spoke with my local law enforcement officers last week, and we talked about the scope of this training, and I believe it's something good, and therefore I vote aye.
Senator Thayer,
Explain my aye vote.
Yes, you may.
I vote yes, and when Representative Mosier brings half the law enforcement officials from my district to the table with others in the audience, I think I pretty much know where they are on the bill. I vote aye.
Senator Wheeler,
Aye.
Senator Mills.
I vote aye, and just want to compliment the sponsor and the crew that's brought this forward. Obviously, in our part of the state, travel is a huge issue in training. I know we're doing some things to address that otherwise, but this helps as well. So, House Bill 565 passes 9-1 with favorable expression. We have a title amendment. So if we get a motion on the title amendment, we have a motion and a second from Senator Wheeler. All in favor, say aye. Aye on the title amendment. So this moves forward 9-1 with favorable expression. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is House Bill 186, which is Representative Miller's. And this is something other than pensions. Good morning, Representative Miller, and introduce yourself, and the floor is yours.
Thank you. I am Representative Jerry Miller, 36th District, which is Eastern Jefferson County, a little bit of Oldham County. I'm joined online by Megan Schmidt from the Philanthropy Roundtable, who would be happy to answer any questions. The Charity Protection Act is to address an issue that has popped up in some states. It's more of a preventative measure. America has the highest rate of philanthropy giving in the world, making philanthropy an essential part of American exceptionalism and greatness. Charity Protection Act helps Kentucky attract and retain private foundations and charitable trusts that meet the needs of our communities. It protects private foundations and charitable trusts so they can focus on their missions rather than complying with sometimes arbitrary and unilateral mandates popping up. It provides transparency by ensuring any new requirements on private foundations and charitable trusts must first be deliberated and approved by the legislature before going into effect, thereby preventing a governor from or new administration from changing the rules arbitrarily. Be happy to answer any questions, as would Ms. Schmidt online.
Any questions for Representative Miller or Ms. Schmidt?
Second.
Senator Southworth has a question.
Yeah, I get the idea generally about, bureaucracy popping things up on people, but can you give us maybe a concrete example of, you mentioned other states, like what precisely are we getting to here?
Okay, Ms. Schmidt, would you take that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've seen in other states, state agency officials are slowly starting to encroach on the charitable sector. And so some examples, Kentucky right now is good, and we're just trying to put this in place to prevent that. But Hawaii, for example, the state attorney general's office subpoenaed documents relating to all of a nonprofit's financial accounts simply because it opposed the construction of the 30-meter telescope. Massachusetts, you have charitable organizations. They must file extensive reports with the state attorney general's office. It's a 15-page form, whereas right now you have to file a 990. That's it. And we'd like to keep it that way for you guys. And I have more examples if you'd like me to list a couple more, but essentially we're just trying to prevent what we're seeing in a couple of other states. And it's really about creating a predictable charitable regulatory environment for these charities.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion from Senator McDaniel, a second from Senator Wheeler. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Alvarado.
Aye.
Senator Harper Angel. Senator McDaniel. Senator McGarvey. Senator Nemes.
Aye.
Senator Schroeder.
Aye.
Senator Southworth.
Aye.
Senator Storm.
Aye.
Senator Thayer.
Aye.
Senator Wheeler. Senator Mills.
I vote aye. And House Bill 186 passes with favorable expression 10-0. Is there a motion for consent? We have a motion from Senator McDaniel, a second from Senator Alvarado for consent. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? House Bill 186 moves to our consent calendar. Thank you, Representative Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, committee.
All right, our final item of the day is House Bill 388. Representative Cook. Good to see you this morning. If you could introduce yourself and your guest, and the floor is yours.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and committee. I'm Representative Matt Cook, representing the 72nd District. I'll let my guest introduce herself.
Good morning, committee. I'm Lauren Ferguson, Chief of Staff for Treasurer Allison Ball.
Good morning.
I like your all's hours. You all are my people. First thing in the morning. Passage of House Bill 388. We are actually taking a contract that would go through government contract review, and we're simply saying 3 actions can be taken. 1, it can be revised to comply with our actions by the Finance Cabinet. It can be canceled by the Finance Cabinet. Or the third option is it can be appealed to the state treasurer within 10 days. Right now, if we deny a contract, which doesn't happen very often, I've been chairman from the House side for approximately 15 months now. We've disapproved 8 contracts in my tenure. They go to the Finance Cabinet, and not surprisingly, and this goes back all the way, I pulled all these contracts back to 2007, and when a contract gets disapproved, I think none of us would be surprised. Republican, Democrat, doesn't matter, administration, legislature side, where it is, by noon the next day, it's overridden. We are simply trying to add checks and balances into this system.
Any questions? We have a motion from Senator Alvarado, a second from Senator Wheeler, and a question from Senator Southworth.
Thank you, Mr. Co-Chairman. I just wanted to get clarity because I'm pretty sure we've passed this last year and there's been some kerfluffle, and I'm reading the language and assuming that is why we're doing this year, but if you could maybe
First off,
crystallize that.
Yes, ma'am. And we had 3 readings. The court had a problem with the 3 readings last year, and so it's back in front of us now. And I don't know if you want to comment more on that, if there's much to say on that. And what we've added to that is dealing with the personal service contract. We've specifically dealing with powers enumerated through the Constitution, and that's section 75 through 80. So dealing with the governor is in charge of our Kentucky Guard, filling vacancies, those powers listed out that specifically listed in the Constitution. We've listed them out on this year's version. Do you have anything to say about last year's?
I think that's great. I think that's a great summary. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
So we have a motion and a second on the bill. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Alvarado.
Aye.
Senator Harper Angel.
What was that? That was a no. No.
Senator McDaniel.
Aye.
Yes.
Senator McGarvey. Senator Nemes.
Aye.
Senator Schroeder.
Aye.
Senator Southworth.
Aye.
That was an aye, yes.
Senator Storm.
Aye.
Senator Thayer.
Aye.
Senator Wheeler.
Aye.
Senator Mills.
I vote aye. And House Bill 388 passes 9-1 with favorable expression. Representative Cook, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, committee.
All right. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
And committee members, I just want to say thank you for being here this morning. I know several of you had to get up early to drive, and we may have some votes to record. So, Senator Harper Angel.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to register an aye vote on House Bill 43.
Okay.
Thank you.
House Bill 43, aye. And any other votes to be recorded? Senator Storm.
Want to cast an aye vote on House Bill 43, and I may have also missed House Bill 564. I'd like to cast an aye vote on that.
Aye on both of those. Thank you so much. We've got those on the record. Thank you, Senator McGarvey.
I'd like to cast a few votes, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, you may. Let us write them down real quick. Go ahead.
I'd like to cast an aye vote on House Bill 40. Let's see, hold on. Sorry. I'd like to cast an aye vote on House Bill 186. A no vote on House Bill 388. A no vote on House Bill 43. And I vote on House Bill 565. And I vote on House Bill 564.
Okay, so we have yeses on 186, 564, 565, no vote on 388, and House Bill 43. Senator Thayer.
Just a comment, sir. We talked a lot about early voting in this committee, but I see Senator McGarvey is a big fan of late voting as well as assisted voting. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Hey, Morgan. We are adjourned. Morgan, we need to clarify